Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Life Goes On, the podcast. No, that's not my name. Welcome back to Life Goes On. I hope you guys are doing well. Today, we're going to talk about something really, really fun, but I want to first introduce our guest.
Hello, my name is Podcast. No, I'm kidding. My name is Danny. Hello.
We are going through a crisis because my stand broke. So I'm just going to lay this down here and we're just going to act like my hand is not holding it up. Today we're going to talk about something really, really fun. I'm super excited. I am in a TV show, as you all know, as I have said multiple times because I'm a little bit too proud of myself. But I met my producer during this TV show and I realized something very important. I don't fucking know what producing is.
You don't know what producing is at all?
Well, I mean, I kind of do, but like, you have these preconceived notions. I never really looked it up or like never really researched into it. I just like, oh, this is the director, this is the producer. Okay.
Yeah.
But I don't know what that is.
There's
really.
a lot of people that don't know, and it's funny because we were looking for an extra producer right now.
Yeah.
And then you hang up posters and everything, and people come and they're like, "Oh, I want to be a producer," and then they find out what it actually is. And they're like,
I don't know if I want to do that.
They just leave, yeah.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, so you basically just like write stuff and like tell people what to do.
Yeah, well, it's part of it, but it's not the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's one of the most necessary things, but also one of the least rewarding things in some ways, because people sometimes think like, oh, this asshole. But, these people get the job done. They make sure that everything happens. And if you don't have a producer... Like, for example, we had a recent shoot last Saturday where we did not have a producer, and you could really tell. I mean, you could really tell. And it was a situation. Oh, damn. It was not good. But, overall, just a producer is so necessary for these things. And if you don't have one,
Let's begin. So, okay. Were your hobbies and interests as a child connected to this? Could you tell that you wanted to be a producer?
In some way. Well, I don't know if you can call it a hobby. I've always loved movies. I think a lot of people love movies, but there's different ways of loving it. I also love looking at like behind the scenes and how it was made and all this stuff and the writing. And I think with these things, you really have to like discover what you like most, because with movies there's so many aspects. Like there's producing, like we said, there's the acting, the set design, costumes. There's so many things. And just really about finding out what you like. And I think, are the things connected to like my hobbies? I think in a way, because I did always like doing these little, like I remember when I was little, I did these little like these stop motion videos, that sort of stuff. It's kind of nice because you didn't have to deal with actors or anything. You just had your stop motion characters,
You just control the little puppets.
Exactly, you just control them. You should do that in real life, but with stop motion it's fine. But yeah, when I did that, it was always really fun. But you grow older and you find out, I could do this like with actual people at some point. Yeah,
maybe if I stop being a control freak, this can actually happen.
Exactly, you can actually ask people to do something and they might do it. No, but then I started doing like little productions, and then it grew and grew and grew, and then you meet people, and then it escalates.
It's so fun.
But yeah, I guess in a way it was connected. Like with writing, even like I like to do these like back when I was little, like these little comic book things, which is also kind of writing. You know? Like you draw, you write, drawing, storyboarding. I guess it's kind of similar than writing these stories, which is kind of similar to now script writing, and it does develop you in a way, which is really nice.
Is script writing a part of producing?
Well, it is. Well, kind of, no, not the writing. But it is to like you want to produce the script into, the actual product, so it is part of it. Like
it's kind of like how you interpret the script.
Yeah, because for example, the producer handles the money and makes sure that the locations are all set and manages, like you manage everything. Yeah. You have to make sure that everything happens.
Okay.
Which is, some people don't realize that it's a lot of scheduling and telling everyone, where to be, and like telling each individual member of the team what to do. And it is quite a lot, and people don't always realize how much time you have to invest, because it's a lot of time. That's also why we are struggling to find like another producer, because it is a lot of time. It's a big effort, so when people hear that, they're like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, I've got university. I don't know about
exactly,
you.
because people see all these images, like these all these images of like the show that we're doing right now, and they see all these shots, and it's, oh, that's cool, and cameras and lights. Oh, I want to be part of that. And then there are ways to be part of that, beyond producer, but then they find out what producer is, and
or like even people who, I can say the same about acting, is like people think it's so glamorous and fun, and like you're always like doing something. Saturday proved me very wrong.
Saturday
like I knew I was gonna have to wait, and I knew there was obviously downsides. There's downsides to everything. It just matters about the balance of it.
Yeah.
But like, that was one of those wake up calls where it was like, if you can't handle this, if you don't love the good parts of it enough to be able to deal with this part, then better not do it.
Yeah, yes and no, because there's also Saturday, like I said, we were missing a producer, and in that aspect you can see like the location where we went, we weren't allowed to go inside. We found that out later, which means we had to do costumes somewhere else and then eat somewhere else, and we couldn't go inside, so nobody could go to the bathroom. We had all these uncomfortable things, and then of course people were late and all kinds of situations. But yeah, that kind of leads up to that, but a producer is really important in that aspect. And like, like really producers, I praise you, all of you.
I praise you.
Yeah.
What was your first experience on set or in a production?
Ooh, that's like years ago. I did this kind of Christmas short movie, which is the first thing I ever did. So it was like I was doing everything. So it's like, well, almost everything. And I'd never done anything like this before. So I wrote a script, and I did like producing and costumes and everything. And if I look back now, there was like no preparation. You show up with your script, and it's like, yeah, this is it. Now you have your shot list, and you have your storyboards and all these documents and everything, and the whole crew is informed way before. And it's just like, we have one camera person, and then me, and then we had an actor.
One actor.
It was so bad. No, but actually it did turn out kind of nice. Like the quality of the camera was kind of and but the performance was kind of nice. So I think I'm sometimes thinking of re-editing the footage to just see how different it would be now. Yeah. Because I think it would be really different, and I think it would be really cool. But that was the first experience, and I thought I could do it all by myself, and technically it worked. But looking back now, it was such a failure.
Yeah, it could have been
in so many ways
better.
It could have been a million times better. And
but you learned a lot from it.
That's true. And it's also like you have to start somewhere,
of course,
and with many things it takes years before you really get a bit better at it, and you learn things every single time. Like even yesterday when we were filming yesterday, by the way. Even then I learned stuff, and even the day before, and then you adapt what you've learned to the day after.
Exactly.
All these little experiences. And I think the Christmas short movie was like 4 years ago or something.
Wow.
So you learn, since then I've learned so much, and you learn something every day. And I think it's really, as long as you use that and are open to feedback, because not everyone is, and some people get kind of offended when you give them feedback, but it is really important to listen to, depending on who gives it to you. Of course, if you're going to ask someone that knows nothing about it, that of course doesn't really matter. But it's so important to listen to it and really be open to that, because it really helps you grow, and it really helps the whole production, because it's a team effort.
Of course.
You have to be able to listen to your team, and
especially when you're in such a high position like a producer, it's like you have to be able to take feedback and make this better, because in a lot of ways, if you're not doing the best you can, everything goes in the shitter.
No, I fully agree. Just it's really important.
This always happens. Have you ever tried different like positions in production, like let's say acting or directing or?
So okay, back to the Christmas movie. I did do some acting there.
Ooh.
You will never see this, but I did do some acting there, and maybe you will see it someday.
Hopefully.
If, in a few years when I know you like really well, and it can be like in like really private, so nobody can see it. But like with this project, even I'm keep switching between roles in a way. Like, of course, like you don't see half of it because you only see it on set, and then of course during rehearsal. But there's like most of the work goes before that, you know. There's like,
Yeah.
because basically I am doing the producing right now, not alone, of course. I'm not doing it alone. There's so many people helping, but yeah, I am switching between producing, and then I also do a little art directing sometimes. Well, we have an art director, but you know, if a project is really big, and that can sometimes be too much, so I kind of help. So I'm kind of helping with art directing, and you know, if storyboarding needs help, then I help with storyboarding. So it's kind of switching between these things, and that's kind of funny because that's also where this project kind of started, because I kind of wanted to do, kind of see what I loved doing the most.
Yeah, exactly.
With, like either directing or writing or all this stuff, and it was meant to be like a 20-minute short. And now it's a show.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That escalated.
Yeah, wow, Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think I ever told you that.
No.
No, I didn't. Yeah, so that kind of really escalated, and now I'm really finding out what I like the most, and so it's serving its purpose, but it's doing way more now. So it's
What do you like the most?
overall writing. I think writing. I love writing dramatic comedy stuff. Like, yeah. Well, you've seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I love the script, so
thank you. That's nice to hear.
But I do think I do see that, like, that you're very like into the writing part. Especially, I feel like you just have a lot of fun doing it.
I do. Yeah. It's so much fun. Like, I could do it every day. Like, even I was doing it this week. Because you know, we're now in the middle of shooting, which means I don't really do a lot of writing right now. And I missed it because I was like, I kind of like doing this a lot. So I just started writing episodes just for the fun of it, you know. And I was like, I could do some drafts, you know.
Yeah.
I kind of don't want to do it without our co-director, because we're gonna write it together this time. Because that's a nice thing, because I figured out while, you know, the first 2 episodes were already written, but then he joined and we kind of started doing this together. Yeah. And then I found out, like, oh, this is really nice. Like, it's nice when you find people that have the same style and the same kind of, yeah, exactly. So that really makes it better, and then it's even more fun to write, because then you really add to each other's skills. So it was super nice. But yeah, writing, definitely the most fun thing. Could do it every day.
Ooh, what were some misconceptions you thought when going onto the set for the first time? Like, what were something like you were like, oh, I bet it's like this, and it was so not like that.
Okay, with this project, I didn't really have that. But like the very first time, or do you mean like with this project, or like the very first time?
Anything that was worth
because
noting.
There's a huge difference. Like the first time, I kind of already told you, like I was doing everything myself. So it was just at some point the camera man was like asking me like, yeah, so do you have like a call sheet or something? I was like, what's a call sheet?
I didn't know what a call sheet was either. I saw a call sheet and I was like, okay. Yeah. And I opened it, I was like, 9, okay. yeah,
exactly. But it's super important, because otherwise no one's gonna know when they need to show up.
So or like no, you can't keep the time and make sure that everything.
Exactly. Do you have like a schedule? No, I don't really. All this stuff. I was just, let's show up at that time and do it then. You know, that sort of stuff. But of course, that was many years ago, so it's not nearly as like it is now. You know, it's super different now. But then this time, like I've directed before, but never with such a professional thing, because now we're really taking it as professional as we can.
Cameras and boom mics.
Yes, exactly. Like lots of things go before this, and of course there's also like a lot of investing in this. So I want it to go right. Yeah. You know? So it's a lot of preparation, but I think as long as you really prepare, like you can never prepare for everything. I mean, but as long as you prepare as well as you can, like I don't think it can go like colossal big. Yeah. It's not gonna be a colossal waste of time, but like overall, if you really prepare, it's gonna go right. Also, depending on your team, and we have a great team.
We really, really do. Genuinely, we really do.
Couldn't do it without them. Every single one.
Ooh, what are the good and bad parts of producing?
Oh boy, good things are when it's finally there, you know, when you finally get to the shooting day, you're like, ha, I did this. And then during the shooting day, you of course also need to do producing, because you know there's a lot of little things to manage. Yeah. But yeah, that's really like the good thing, the results, you know. That's super nice, and people being like, oh, you know, actually it did work. Like it's kind of nice to see, because some of my friends that really know me, that they know that I can sometimes be a bit, you know, lazy or chaotic or that sort of stuff. But with this, they had never seen me with this, and if it's something I'm passionate about, I go really hard. Like I really work really hard. And that was kind of funny to see because my friends were saying, "Oh, he can be,
Wow, yeah,
he can be
can
active.
do things.
He can be active if it's certain things, not everything." But yeah, with the bad things, it's like all the like managing things and organizing and getting questions every day. Like I don't understand this, I don't understand that. Which on one hand is valid because people want to know, where they're at and when they have to show up and all this sort of stuff. And of course, you don't always get smart questions. I'm not gonna say dumb questions, but sometimes
hyperintelligence sometimes doesn't go into the mix.
well, yeah, in a way. But you also have to attend to all of that, So you have so many little questions that people ask, and then you don't have time to answer that today. But it's such a little question. You're like, if I just take 1 minute, I could answer, but there's a million of those,
Yeah.
So that's also something not to underestimate. If you're thinking of producing, you're also going to get that. If you're really a people person, do it, because I am a people person, so that's why I do enjoy it, and I do enjoy all the calls that I have to do every week, every day almost, even today. But yeah, it is really fun, but it has both, like it has two sides,
It's draining.
It's draining, it's a lot of work. There's good sides, there's bad sides to it. It's really I think the more you do it, the more you get used to it, and the better you get at it.
Or you realize that it's not for you, and you move on to it.
That too. Like I know plenty of people that do it for a few times, but then after that they're kind of like, I'm actually doing it next week. There's a 48-hour film festival again, and I'm doing the producing this time, which I wasn't sure about at first because I know what it is now and I know how much work it is. But on the other hand, it really does help your team, and this team has done so much for me.
Exactly.
So I want to give back a little. A lot, I guess. So yeah, it's good things and bad things, really.
Ooh, this is a good one. When writing, for example, what do you use? What are sources of inspiration for you?
Oh, so many things. Like so many things. I think depends on what you're writing. Like if it's comedy, there can be many things, because we all have our favorite shows. That always helps. But it's also situations in real life, because I like to use things that are original. Like I don't want to reuse jokes from shows or something, or like something that I read somewhere. I want to actually do something original. And it's nice when something in real life happens and you can use that in the show. I think I've told you once before.
Somebody said something funny and you're like, yep.
Yeah, exactly. Like there was this situation. Okay, to give an example, there was this situation where my friend was on the train home, and Dutch train systems, they're kind of bad,
chaotic,
they're very bad. And this was in the time that there were a lot of like protests or protests, like the
stacking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it was happening again.
Strike.
And strike, that's the word. My friend was stuck in like Utrecht or something. So she was sitting there, and my friend was explaining the story, and she was like, she has like colored hair or something. And she was sitting on the sidewalk there and waiting for the train, and she was sitting there with her bag next to her, and someone walks up to her, and they're like, I'm sorry, are you homeless? And she just looks up. She's like, what the fuck?
No.
Can I swear in this? Oops.
Yeah, you can't. I swore like 5 times already.
Okay. I'm like, we're getting cancelled after this.
No. You're allowed to swear as much as you want.
Okay. I won't, but still. She looks up and she's like, homeless? Like, what do you mean? And then the woman just goes, do you not have a house?
Oh.
And my friend just goes like, yes, I have a house. What do you mean? And then my friend told me the story like the week after, and I was like, this is kind of funny.
And then I said it.
And I wrote it down, and then you said it in the show. Like I put it in there, and it's with a lot of jokes come from like real life.
Yeah.
So I like half of the jokes are of course also sarcasm. Like in the shows, especially your character has a lot of sarcasm. Oh my god,
which I love, because I sometimes get in trouble for this. Like with people, they get really mad at me. They're like, you're so rude. Because like when somebody asks me something, I am trying my best to like work on it, because it is, I like to say that I'm a nice person usually in conversations or kind or stuff like that, but my sarcasm can cut deep. So if somebody asks me something and I'm already in a bad mood, I say something like super sarcastic, and they're like, that was mean, why did you do that? And I'm like, oh sorry, it just came out.
Yeah, I have the same thing, because I mean, well, not exactly the same thing. I just really love sarcasm and sarcastic
Yeah.
humor. It's just I find it really hilarious, but not everyone gets it. But if you write it down, you can let out the emotions there.
Yeah.
and use it
Especially
for-
with Theodora. Oh my god.
Especially for your character. So you can just put it all in there, and you can use it for a show, and which I really loved. But yeah, in terms of inspiration, there's just also like I read a lot and I watch a lot of movies and shows and all this stuff, and there's so many writers and like movie directors and like script writers that just really inspire me in like so many ways. And I think it's kind of funny because sometimes you like, now I'm looking at the project that we're doing now, and I'm like, if I really like pull it all out, I just look at like little different things. I'm like, yeah, it's been inspired by that and that, and that's like just everything influence. Yeah, it's like a combination of all the shows and movies that you love that influenced you to write things. And I think it's also a really nice thing because it becomes really personal. And then of course there's people that add things, like when you joined or when your other two co-stars joined, you all really added stuff like your own how do you say, like your own interpretation to it. Yeah. And that really changes things as well, and that makes it more personal and like makes it even nicer for yourself, like to act it out, of course, as well.
Also natural. It feels more natural.
Yeah. And you can really see that. And I showed you some photos earlier on from the yesterday's shoot.
I don't get mad often. I don't scream at people ever. I don't like, if I'm mad, I'll just say like, look, I'm mad, like this. Why would you do this? Look, I would never scream at somebody, unless somebody's like doing something to me, then I'm not screaming. Yeah, so, and I have never had like the option to scream, like for what, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe at my sister when I was like 5, but like after that, whatever. And so for this scene, I had to scream, and like be really mad. And, like, I know what it is like to be mad, so it's not like I can't act like I'm angry because I don't get angry.
This was over the top,
Yeah. So I was, like, so pissed mad. And then I saw a photo of my face, and I was scared. Yeah. No wonder my co-star was looking at me like... And I was like, he's over dramatic. It's just because I'm screaming. But then I saw my face, and I was like... Jesus Christ, that's a horror movie.
It was kind of funny because you didn't hear this, but I was like to one of our team members. I was like, this freaks me out. I was like, this is kind of freaky. It's like I have to be quiet.
You're like, is she actually mad or is she acting?
Well, in some moments you really like with this. Of course, I know that it's like what I wrote, but sometimes when people, for example, do certain things that are not in the script when they, for example, laugh, and I was like, oh, they really find it funny, but no, it was like acting. And it's really nice to see how well some people can act, and it's just mind-blowing. And then, like, that anger, that was like a really nice thing, and I felt like the more you did it, the higher the energy for some reason, which is impressive because with some people it goes lower and lower because they lose energy, but for some reason with you it seemed to help,
it really
you're
did.
Poking the bear with a stick and it just gets angrier and angrier.
Because I have to, it's kind of like warming up an engine. I don't scream at people, so sometimes it feels like I'm holding something back. Because there's no reason to scream.
It was an explosion, and I could see the sound guy, he was next to me, he was looking with one eye closed, like he
was like this. But he still had headphones on, so it's not like he can like turn away from the noise.
He can't.
And I felt so bad, but I was like, I can't not scream. Like, this is the whole point.
You shouldn't feel bad. You had to do it. It was the right thing. He
signed up for being the sound guy, so he should expect some harsh sounds.
Exactly. Yeah, it was just overall, it was a really nice. It was a scene that I was looking forward to as well. It was
Me
just
too. Honestly, I had so much fun with. I had so much fun.
Yeah, you could see that. I think it's.
Touch my hair.
It was a fun one. It was a fun one. I really love that scene, and it's like the face that your other actor, the other how do you say it? Like the actor in front of you made. Your co-star made. It was hilarious. So it would fit perfectly.
Yeah.
Super funny. So yeah.
Ooh, this is not a question part of this, but I just got it in my mind. Do you have a favorite movie?
Do I have a favorite movie? Oh damn, I have like many favorite movies. It really depends on genre as well.
So I would say, what's your favorite comedy movie?
Comedy movie? Probably Addams Family.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know.
That makes sense with what we're doing right now.
Yeah, it's what I grew up with, kind of. It was like we always had it on DVD, and I just grew up. It's also I always watched it in English, so it was for some reason I learned English like really early on.
Me, yeah.
So yeah. And so I kind of grew up with that, and it has that dark humor, but it's still kind of light. It's not light. I don't know.
It is made for kids, isn't it? So
in some way, yes, but there's also jokes that you're like, you can,
maybe
but
it's family friendly, both for the
exactly.
parents and the kids.
And it's like it's dark jokes, but it's still jokes. So it's like
Yeah.
But I really liked that. I still like it today, and it's an older movie now. I think it's like more than 30 years old now.
Very old, yeah.
Not even everyone knows it, which I'm always like hurt by.
Yeah.
So everyone got all excited with the new Netflix show. I'm like, there was so much more before that. There was even the show which nobody has. I've seen it, but like a lot of people, it was still in black and white, so not everyone's seen it, which is also really good. But of course, back then they didn't really have budgets or modern things that we have now. But with the movie, they did, kind of, and still it's like it's really nice. And, but yeah, that does really influence someone
for sure.
There's of course many more shows and movies that I really love, but directors as well, so it's really depends on what you like.
Who's your favorite director?
Who would you say? I'm curious, or do you really
Tim Burton?
Yeah. I was gonna say that.
I think I've heard it before.
Probably. It's like, it's also really specific, but that was also always the plan with this show, because I didn't want to, like, of course it's nice to appeal to all audiences, but I would rather appeal to like one audience that really loves it and make it for them.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's also what some directors now do. They want to appeal to all the audiences.
You can't do that.
Which in some way I think is nice, but then you also lose some of the original, like what the show that was just with the Wednesday show. I think it's a lot of people love it because it's also really like kind of that teen drama now, which I don't really like, but I love the whole concept, so I was watching it anyway. But they had to do this to appeal to also, like, my sister loves that part, she loves watching this because of that. But I don't really like it, but I get that you have to appeal to more audiences, so at some points I was like, okay, fine, but yeah, it's I get why they do it, but sometimes I wish some directors just stuck to what they're good at, and just because if you do something really well.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's always going to be people that don't like it. That's just
exactly you
inevitable.
Just accept that. Yeah,
that's a part of being an artist, is being that vulnerable to be able to put out something you're proud of and expect people to hate it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just some people will just fucking hate it, and
exactly,
that's normal.
Yeah, that's also like what made me nervous when letting people read the script for the first time. Like the first 4 or 5 times when people read it, I was so nervous.
I can imagine.
Like, oh my god, they're gonna hate it, or they're, and actually it doesn't matter if they hate it, even if they hate it. Yeah, it's just feedback. Depends on the people, of course. Like if it's someone that has done this before and like is good at this, you're like, okay, I hope they like it. If it's your neighbor and they know nothing of this, then okay, who cares? But it's really,
especially with comedies. Very tricky.
Can be subjective in some way. Not everyone likes these sort of jokes.
Yeah,
but
that's
I was
normal.
happy to hear that people were laughing.
I like that.
Nice.
Let's talk about the show, The Art of Crime.
Right, we haven't talked about the show.
Yeah, because I have some fun questions, because I think I will be most interested about these types of questions, because obviously I'm working with you in different ways, but still like interested in the process.
I was even thinking about that today. Like when I was walking here, I was like, I actually, like, we spent a lot of time together, but I don't actually know you that well. When you think about it, like in a way of like really knowing a person. Like I spend time with you a lot now, almost. But like
it's
every
mostly
week.
Surrounding this, so we
it's
don't
always
have
surrounding
like
this.
So we don't have like, for example, going to a coffee, which we should do.
We should
do like more stuff, because then we can talk about ourselves and stuff.
Then
we can talk about ourselves for the whole day instead of this stupid project. No, I'm sorry.
I know.
Just kidding. But like,
that's where the sarcasm comes.
Yeah, but that's usually when you go into like shows like this, is like, we spend a lot of time with each other, and I would say we're close, but we don't have that like emotional aspect of it where we know each other like deep inside as people.
Yeah, exactly. Which is crazy when you think about it, because I see you more than like sometimes my parents, you know.
I see you more than my parents.
I
That's
was
for
gonna
sure.
say, and I know them much better, so it's
Yeah.
like, you know, it's crazy. But yeah, just anyway.
We will get to know each other. I mean,
We
it's.
will.
I feel like the connections I've made through that show won't just fizzle out.
No,
I hope
no,
they don't.
won't,
Like,
they won't.
it's not like, and I'm sure that there's more projects that you guys will do. So I can
Maybe.
jump into things and like try to
Exactly.
help out. Like, I'm here for another 2 years. You never
Yeah,
know what's gonna
yeah.
happen.
It's always nice.
But I wanted to ask because I'm actually super interested about this.
Mhm.
When did you decide that you wanted to make this story? That you wanted to start?
Yeah, so it's kind of, there's a longer story there, but I'll give you like the
Synopsis.
yeah, exactly. Because the original thing was like a short, like I said, and it was only about your character actually, and the character that gets murdered in the show. Spoiler alert.
Well,
Yeah, I mean,
it's probably gonna be in the trailer or something.
That's true, but it was only about those two, and all the other characters did exist, but in other separate. Like, I like writing, like I said, so it's like all these little
Yeah.
stories. But then at some point, I was watching, TV shows as one does, and I was like, could actually be nice to like turn this into episodes and make the story larger. So then, I just I like to read a lot, and I also really like to read Sherlock Holmes and that sort of stuff. And I had just finished the whole thing. I was like, mysteries are also kind of
Yeah.
nice. And I was like, maybe I should turn it into like a longer short. So I turned it into kind of like a mystery, but I found out that it didn't really fit within one episode or one little short, like a 20-minute short. It was just, the story was too large for like that. It's like, maybe I should just for fun, like, write a script, and then the original script was then 20 minutes, and then every episode was around 20-25 minutes. I felt that it was really forced, so I was like, okay, let's extend this and give more space for the story to breathe,
Yeah.
I was like, let's, and then I got into it, and then I brought in characters from other little stories that I wrote, put it into one thing. It's kind of nice how you write all these characters and then put them all in one story, and it kind of worked. And then you let people read it, and they like it, and people join, and then we went from 10 people to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50. We're now with 50 people at the project, which is quite a lot of people.
Oh my god.
Over 50 almost. So it's like, I was really like, the other day that kind of scared me when I thought about it. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's a lot of people.
I was telling my parents, like, yeah, it's like 20 people.
It's way
50
more.
people.
But you also have to imagine like cast, but then we're also gonna get like extras, and we're gonna get more people eventually.
Yeah.
So it's more and more
huge.
people keep joining, and you haven't even met half of them, because the big part of the cast have yet to do their scenes, and so it's quite a lot. But yeah, that kind of anyway, getting off topic, but that kind of made me want to do a show, because I just really love stuff that you can watch for like a while, like episodes. Like, I like cliffhangers as well. That's why I like to end with like things that you're like, oh, I want to watch more. And I just really like the format of a show. Like, I prefer shows over movies in some ways. Sometimes it depends, but like, if you're at home, I really love to watch shows. And I was just like, maybe I should make something like this, and then here we are.
When was that? Like, when like year?
Like, when I first started with what exactly?
Starting the script.
Oh, like more than 1.5 years ago, probably. But if you actually go to like the story, like the original, like the shorts, that's even longer ago, because it was just on paper.
Yeah.
And then, because I keep all my papers of everything I write just on paper. I always start with paper because I just like doing it that way. And then sometimes I dig through it. I was like, this is nice. Oh, this can go. This is nice. And then, I put that into a short. Then the shorts that I wrote, I used for... I think I may have that. We should go over that sometime.
We should.
I still have that. But that I turned into an episodes. And then I think the version that we originally use now, the script, is like version 37 or something. So you have to imagine how many times
Oh my god.
you rewrite
and
this.
We still rewrite some things if they feel like unnatural, if they feel like...
At this, but those rewrites are different, because those are like what for the actors. Like, if you're like, this line would feel more natural like this, or it sounds more natural like this. That's different than like really like core things that you rewrite, like storyline wise. So there's a lot of things about the story that are also super different. Characters that first might have been related to each other, and now they're fully not, and all this stuff. a lot of
That's so
that
fun.
to kind of expand on. So it's
yeah, but like exploring the storyline, seeing what works, what doesn't work.
Maybe it's fun to do that one day to see how version 1 was and then just go over
that would be super
I hope
cool.
I still have that. Maybe.
I hope
maybe
you do.
I still have that if I really dig. Yeah.
Ooh, what was the process of writing the script? Like, cause I don't know. I'm at a writers club, so I do have experience with writing a story based on a prompt or based on an idea.
Yeah.
I usually just think about it a lot until I have an kind of like a structure of what I want to do, and then I just start writing and see where it takes me.
Oh wow, yeah. I always wonder how people do this because
I don't know what, like I just start and it just.
I think it's a very personal thing because everyone does it differently, right? It's like really whatever you prefer. For me, it kind of also depends on the story you're doing because with a murder mystery, you already have to know where it ends because you know all these clues have to lead up to one thing and it all has to be connected.
Planned, yeah.
So with this, I did have a beginning, but I kind of started at the end and kind of branched out from that, which was super complicated. And I spent days just sitting at home like, oh, it doesn't match up and it doesn't get connected, and that took months. But I got there eventually. But yeah, with like script writing, I just really have these like kind of points in the, like, how do we say, like beats? Yeah, you know this. We have these beats that you kind of go through the whole story, and then once I have like little summaries of each scene, and then I expand on that. So it's like kind of depends on what you prefer, you know. Some people like to just, for example, my co-director, I think at least he told me once that he just likes to start writing and then and then go from there,
edit
you know,
it afterwards.
Yeah, and I do like something way different, but it's nice to still see how it can work together. And I think it's nice that everyone has a different way of doing it because then you get different results, which is really cool. But yeah, that's kind of my process. But also music really helps me, and by music I mean like instrumental music, like any kind of movie stuff or like, well, it's always like movie or show stuff with instrumental music. But it really helps if you listen to a certain, at least for me, if you listen to a certain kind of music that's in the vibe of the show. You're like, and then you get in there.
Yeah,
you know?
then you kind of get inspired and everything like that.
Exactly. So it does really help, you know.
Did you ever experience writer's block? And if so, how did you combat it?
Ooh, did I? Like with the thing that I just told you, with like the, you know, everything getting complicated because it's a murder mystery and you have to kind of unravel it. Well, not unravel it. You have something to write. You have to write something that we can unravel, you know?
Yeah.
So it's kind of the opposite. And of course you get stuck, and then you're stuck, and you're stuck, and you're stuck, and you're 5 days, 6 days later, and then at some point you're like, wait a minute. I've had moments, that's the nicest like example of that. I've had moments that it was like 2 a.m. and I'm in bed, and I just get up, and I'm like, wait, that's it. And I get up. So, you know, in the middle of the night, I turn on my lights and I just type things down. And I'm like, tomorrow I'm going to be happy about this. Then I close my laptop half an hour ago. I go back to bed. I wake up and like, yes.
Oh my God. Yeah, I feel like I think writer's block, for me at least, when I experience writer's block, I let it breathe. I just let it happen. Yeah. Because I know that eventually either I'll have a dream or I'll have a conversation with somebody or I'll see something on the street and I'll be like, you know what? This fits into my story. Yeah. So it's all about like, we write about things that we experience sometimes and we use our lives to inspire us. Yeah. So if we just wait for life to happen, it's going to inspire us. And
it really needs time sometimes. And then you figure it out and you're like,
and reading really helps.
It does. Yeah. Depending on like what you're reading and how much it has to do with like what you're writing. But even then it can sometimes still, imagination is really important. And mine gets weird.
Yeah.
You've read it.
Yeah, I've read it. I've also texted you before.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
When writing the script, were there some things you had to be careful of, or like certain biases that you have had and you didn't even notice? Like weird like perspectives or something like that.
Yeah, like in terms of being careful, like I think nowadays you should be careful either way because like how do they say it? Like we live in kind of like a hypersensitive society nowadays, you know. You have to be really careful with things. Like I think in one way it's a really good thing because, you know,
Before there were literally homosexual jokes, like people being like, gays are bad, and you're like,
all this stuff, yeah, which is, you know, you have to be really careful with that. But sometimes you write a joke and you're like, that's funny, but you're like, that's close to like going too far.
The border.
Exactly. This is also why you let people read a script so that they can be like, you know, that. To be fair, I've never been like really close with a joke that's like, oh, you can't do this or you can't do that. Sometimes you rewrite it, it's just as funny and it's not offensive, so it also works. But I also do like to keep jokes like family friendly, you know. Well, I think overall it's like not too offensive.
Yeah, there's like one F word in the script, and like
there's a few, but not you say it like once or twice, but I think overall it's like in terms of like really insulting something. Like I don't like to insult. Like I don't like to write about politics, like gender or like sexuality. Like if it's in an empowering way, yes. Yeah. But otherwise, no. Like I really don't. I really steer clear of that, and I mean I also really like more fantasy stuff, and you know that sort of writing. So you don't really get to that, but I think it's just.
Unless it adds to the story in a significant way, there's no real reason.
Exactly.
Like for example, William, he's very flamboyant, but there's no mention of his sexuality, which I like personally.
No,
because it's not a big deal. He isn't there because he might be gay, or he isn't there because he might have different sexuality. Yeah. He's there because he's funny and he's just part of the like little crew.
I didn't want to write it in that way either, so it's like I always kind of, that's why with the main three characters you don't really. That I didn't shape that really because I was like, you also it's like
personality.
Yeah, and also with the auditions, I didn't know who I was gonna get. You know what people were gonna look like, what they were gonna be like, how they were gonna interpret the character. So I think like in terms of like being careful, like with what you write there, you should also be careful. You shouldn't be too, too specific. Because then you're not gonna find what you're looking for. Unless you have like a million auditionees, then yes, you're gonna find it probably. But in this case, you have to be more open-minded with that. And that worked out because here we are.
It worked out so good.
Okay, damn.
Oh my god, it worked out amazingly.
Oh,
I mean, I'm not saying it about me. I'm saying it about like the...
Sure, I
promise, I'm not this self-absorbed. I'm not Theodora, I promise.
It has to come from somewhere, right?
That's so true. Like, I'm sorry, but that screaming came from the deep depths of my soul.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Ooh, this is really fun because I have no clue. What was the process like of assembling the crew?
Oh, that was okay. So there's a lot of okay, right. That's
moving parts.
That's a complicated story because when I first started this, like with the first shorts that I was planning to do, what I told you about. I knew nobody. So I was just hanging up posters like, oh, you want to join? And then you get people that are like, oh, well, I'll join this. And I know by then it was already a show, actually. But the episodes were much shorter. But people joined and like, oh, I'd like to do this little thing. And this little thing. And then months later, like, oh, this actually work. I have to do something. And then like, oh, never mind, And I got a lot of like...
flakes.
Yeah, I got a lot of people that kind of misinterpret how much work it is, And because of that, you get a lot of people that either quit or at some point they kind of extend the quitting, so they keep being there, but they're like
less and less,
less and less. And like, just quit if you don't want to do this. But yeah, then I started doing 48-hour projects, and if you don't know what that is, 48-hour projects. That's a project in which you have to make a movie within 48 hours. And you gotta
no sleep. I don't know how you're gonna combat that. I know personally how I would.
It's tiring, but that's a whole nother story. But through these projects, I met a lot of people that now joined this project, and then there was people from the outside, some people from school. So you really get this mixture of people from everywhere. And then with the audition, of course, I got random people I really didn't know who I was gonna get. I mean, some people I did know already. But you just get this random mixture of people, and it's really nice to see how many talents come together with this, and because everyone's so good at what they do, and like we really couldn't miss anyone, so it's really amazing. It went amazing. Yeah, I'm super happy with how it went and how everyone got together for this, and how everyone keeps getting together for this.
And like that's why everybody's like connections are so important, because through experience you not only gain experience and you learn a lot, but you also have these connections that you can call up
Yeah.
And that's why you should be a nice human being to all the crew members, because they're doing their best and they're
Yeah.
very, very hardworking. And if you're gonna be a bitch to them, nobody's ever gonna have you there ever again.
That is definitely true, but it's like also for me again, also a bit of producing there. It's like important to keep everyone happy.
Yeah.
You need to keep everyone on board. You need to treat everyone with respect. Listen to what they have to say, and I think as long as you do that and really talk about things, even if it's like a harder thing to talk about, because that's the thing with leading the whole thing, is that you have to deal with every problem, and it's like if there's something, you have to be the one to speak up and that sort of stuff, which you have to learn, and you get better at it every time it happens, but sometimes things happen and you don't expect it, and just but then you also get to know the crew better, and
Exactly.
the bond gets stronger, and the more you talk about things and you meet up more, and it's really nice. Like overall, really great team. It is.
Ooh, how I know how the audition process was for me. You get the script, you learn the script, you go, you get to know them up just a bit, you do some camera work, some improv, and then you start the scene, you do it differently, blah blah, and then you go home. But there's a whole other person on the other side.
Oh god.
And I was interested in how is that process like, and how do you go about picking an actor for a role?
Oh, okay. So first of all, when this audition happened, I was so nervous. Like the day before, I was so nervous. I was talking with our director of photography behind the camera, and because he's done a movie before, and he's done auditions before, so I was talking to him about it. We didn't plan it; it just happened. And he was like, because he saw how nervous I was just like, oh, I'm so nervous for this, even though I'm not the one auditioning.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to be nervous, but
you're probably more nervous than me. I was just going there for funsies.
I really, and the thing is, like with my school that I'm doing now, we had to present every week, so I thought I had lost that nervousness. I hadn't been nervous in so long, so then this thing happened, and I was at my parents like the day before. I was just, I can't really eat, and I don't really feel great. And my friend was like, oh, that's weird. Like, maybe you're getting sick. And then the day after, it got worse. And like,
oh, God.
I'm nervous.
Yeah.
I got nervous. And then my friend talked to me and, explained to me, like, just have fun with it. Because it's, for a lot of people, it's one of the most fun things. And I was like, oh, okay. I didn't look at it that way. And he was like, they're probably going to be much more nervous than you are. And if you're also nervous, that's not going to help. So I was like, okay, that's true. I don't, have to calm people down. And that kind of helped when I was imagining everyone else being much more nervous than me.
Yeah.
That helped calm them down. And I think for a lot of people that I even asked after, like, did that help in a way? Because I think it's really important to hear about what someone's first experience was when meeting you with a project like this. And I think it's important to know if they were comfortable and if it was not nervous and if it was all respectful and that, which luckily was.
Yeah.
So it's nice to hear. But with like in preparation, like we did quite a lot of preparation. I think at that point, like my co-director was already part of this, so we talked about this. We thought of some things to do, and the first day when we did the audition was kind of chaotic. Actually, one of the co-stars was the very first one that auditioned, so that's super nice. We had those, and the thing is, when you have the first few auditions, you don't know what you're gonna get that day, so the first one can always be like, oh, this is amazing,
this is it. I don't need anything in.
Or it can also be like, oh no, because I think with this that's why it's good to be open-minded with the characters, because you don't know what you're gonna get, and you have to deal with what you get. Of course you can pick people, of course, and I think in terms of like picking people, again, it was nice to be open-minded, because people can give it their own interpretation. But the thing with, like, especially the main character, was that it's a horrible person, but it had to be likable to watch. So, and that's hard to do, because if someone's really horrible, you're just gonna get annoyed at it at some point.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, this girl.
Yeah, so but for example, when we had you, I think it was the first day or the second day, I don't even remember. It's been a while. But I was watching. I was like, this could be likable. I was like, I was enjoying the meanness. With a lot of people, they do a lot of shouting and they get angry and they do a lot of this. but not everyone. I think you're one of the only ones that made it likable to watch. That you're like, okay, I would root for this person even if they did horrible things, you know. And which this character does, because this character does horrible things constantly.
But I don't see her as a horrible. Like everybody says, she's
I think that's part
person,
of the problem. Yeah.
But I can see that she just.
Misunderstood.
There's a lot of trauma and misunderstanding where she, in a way, she kind of has to do those things in order to stay on top. So of course she's not a good person. That's not what I'm saying. You know, I have a moral compass.
Yeah.
But I just saw somebody that was just hurt and antisocial and gone through a lot, and now she just hates the world.
That is also true, but it's still like, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's but yeah, that was really cool to see. Like, it was really cool to see what people did with it, how they, you know, with the interpretations. It was really amazing. But yeah, eventually we picked you, and then we had to go through everything. That was also nice to see with your initial reaction. It was really fun.
I was like, I recognize the name Theodora, but it can't be.
Yeah.
The main character. And they were like, this is gonna be a lot of response, and I was like. I just went there because I thought it was cool. I didn't know I was actually gonna do this.
It's a lot, and it's a lot of work, but I think it's like, even with your audition, I think we saw like 4 or 5 times, maybe more, because we had to make sure that we were making the right call, and then that's also why you were one of the first ones. I think you were one of the first ones that I called. I don't know if you remember, because
I think it was like the second day of calling or something.
Yeah, because if you said no, we would have to find someone else for that role.
Yeah.
I don't even know who we would have gone for. It's kind of nice to like think about how that would have turned out. I don't know.
But I know that, for example, if I look back at my audition, if I like imagine how the audition went, Theodora's not like that at all.
No.
I completely changed her. Like as I got to know her.
We should watch that.
We should, because honestly I feel like I'm completely different right now with the way I approach Theodora.
And I think we've done some of the scenes already, like actual filmed some of the scenes that you did for your audition, so it would be fun to see that and see the difference.
Yeah, so I honestly think that like I'm much more happy, like I'm completely confident with how I portray her. I mean, sometimes I do have like my moments of like what would she do in this situation? But I know. Wait a minute. Stare very unpleasantly.
that would also work.
But like I can imagine that if I look back at that audition, I'm like, that's not Theodora. Like, girl, you did not
Makes sense. You didn't know yet, and we on purpose didn't tell anyone too much, because I think it's nice to just see what they do with it and just see where it goes, because it needs also to be your own thing, you know.
Yeah.
And that really worked out in the end.
It did, honestly. So, what has been your favorite part about the process of creating this show?
That's difficult. Like, I don't know if I have one thing. Like I said, I really love writing, but for me, it's also like meeting people and spending time together. And I think that's really like, I don't even have like a really big story there. It's just really like, it's really nice to see like how everyone works together and like the bonds and, just where it ends up. And now that I see all the shots, I'm like, we did it together, it's like a really cool thing.
Yeah.
Just so special to see where it goes. And I think it's just, like you said, fulfilling. It's really nice. Yeah.
What are some traits or I guess types of people that you would most likely be inclined to have working with you? For example, if you have an actor or crew member, what is super important for them to be like?
The motivation is really important, because if we've had so many people on this project that didn't have the motivation, like the right motivation. Because sometimes you get on a project and you're like, I'm gonna have my name in the credits and this sort of stuff, but then realizing how much work it can be, I do really look at like what their motivation is to join, because that's super important, but also how they are as a person. Like, that was also a big part of the audition. That's also a part of why we picked you, because it's like you were really easy to work with in that moment already. And I think it was just me and like 2 others, right? At that point, it was not like our director.
No,
he was not there. But then already I was like, This interaction was nice.
I tell her something and she does it.
No, not even in that way. It's just the way people behave is just really important, and I know how the rest of the team is, and it has to be able to work together.
Oh, for sure.
People can be extremely good, but if they're not good to work with, then I don't care. Then it's not gonna happen.
We already have enough problems that we can't control.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if your personality is one of them, bye bye. We can't deal with that.
It really is true, and it's you have to be careful with that. And of course, we also have a really international team.
Yeah.
I think we're shooting in the Netherlands. I think we have 2 Dutch people on the team, and apart from that, it's from everywhere. And even I'm not fully Dutch, so that also doesn't count. But it's just really important that you can adapt to the team and like really work together with that. And you really notice within the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, what kind of person it is. Like you never know, you have the first impression. Yeah. And we've had auditions where you ask someone to do something and they're like, okay, let's try it again, but let's do it in this way. Like, can we try that? And then you get the exact same result, so that doesn't, then you realize, okay, this is not going to work. And with you, for example, we asked, like, can you do it in this way? And then it happens, Of course, no one's going to get it perfect because there's no perfect way to do it. But
I can't read somebody's mind and imagine exactly what they want,
Yeah, that's why I have to be really descriptive with these things. But yeah, that just really worked out there. And but yeah, how you are as a person is even more important. Because that's most of the time you're not going to be in character, so it's
exactly
good to be,
Saturday proved that.
Oh yeah, oh my god.
I love I'm gonna make jokes about this forever. It's so funny.
By far not my favorite shoot.
My screen time fully went up like 5 hours.
Yeah, that's true. Oh boy.
But it was nice. I watched some YouTube videos. Took a nap on the stairs.
Anyway.
My boyfriend called me at one point. I was like, hey. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like,
waiting.
Filming.
Yeah.
Barely.
Oh no.
That was so funny.
Oh no.
What companies are you planning to send this to? How does that process work of like sending it out and...
So yeah, it really depends on how you're gonna do it because the original plan with this was to do like crowdfunding, but with that you also have like a million opinions and that sort of stuff, and I didn't really want to deal with that. So then I was like, okay, we could maybe pitch it to like production companies. So I started looking around the Netherlands, and there are some here, but then I see like the work they do, I'm like, I don't know if it's like really fits with this. Because I think the nice thing about little production companies is that you can really see, and by little I do mean some of them did movies that they do show in like the movie theaters.
Oh wow.
So but it's in the Netherlands, for example, so I still see that as kind of little.
Yeah, it's not like Hollywood or Netflix.
Exactly, yeah. And like even if you want to pitch it to Netflix, there's like a whole process behind it. It's a really long process and it's kind of complicated to explain. But you have to get an agent and you have to pitch the whole thing. It's a whole thing. But I kind of want to look in the UK because the thing is, either you like the biggest movie productions or like the biggest like kind of hub for all the film industry in Europe is kind of in the UK, and otherwise you have to go, I don't know, to like America,
Canada maybe,
which is really far away for us. So I wanted to stay like local, local, yeah. But
not even in the EU anymore.
No, I know, but still, I love the UK.
I mean, there's great stuff.
It's super nice, but they have a lot of production companies there, especially like kind of around the center with London and stuff. There's a lot of like things around there, but also Scotland and Ireland have a lot of things like we mentioned before, I think. There's a lot of like production companies there that we plan to pitch it to. I would even like travel there. I really don't mind because next year I'm taking half a year off to really focus on that and put this together professionally. Really professionally pitch this. Like I really want to take it serious, and we'll see how it goes by then. Like for now I'm focusing on first creating these episodes, putting it together, and having something to show, and then I'm gonna make it look all professional, and it's super exciting. It's still like a long time away, like could be a year before we actually first pitch it, I want to do it as well as I can. Just
wait until I finish my bachelor's first, so I can actually do it when it starts. You never
know; it could be that long, So it's,
I mean, 2 years from now, it could.
Yeah, well, that is a long time. But by then, who knows?
But I do get it because I wanted to go to Trinity in Ireland, that college.
Yeah.
They have a acting college specifically, and I signed up for it. They didn't let me in, but it's like amazing, and some people from the Crown went to that school.
Wow.
Or like just in general, like very popular TV shows. So Ireland is a hub for film. My best friend, her step uncle is Jeremy Clarkson.
Really? Damn.
So like like my friend Chloe in Groningen, like we go
Did
to
you
some
find out
classes.
recently, or you just...
Oh no, it was like the first couple weeks we were talking.
She has it on a t-shirt or something.
Oh my god, he's an asshole.
Oh.
No, I mean we all know that, but like it's kind of like a public fact.
Yeah.
But he's a confirmed asshole. Okay. What is he gonna do? Stop my podcast that 20 people watch?
You don't know that.
Sue me for gross misconduct.
You never know.
You never know.
Years later.
But
like Twitter.
But yeah, yeah. So she has a lot of connections as well. She's a sweetie. Jeremy Clarkson, if you're watching this, I'm kidding. You're a great guy. I'm sure you are. I'm sure you are.
No comment.
I believe you.
No comment on the situation.
No, nobody said anything. You can't prove it. What are you gonna prove?
well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, those were my questions. If you have anything else to add to this conversation.
Oh, now you're putting me on the spot.
Well, if you do, if you don't.
Okay. Okay, let me turn this into Life Goes On, the podcast, Danny version.
Mm-hmm.
All right. What was your first experience on set? What did you think? Like, what was... Because I'm really curious, like, the very first time... Well, I remember the first time. That was
good. Oh.
I know the very first, you know? You remember?
That was
I saw it. I was like...
It started off... It started off... I don't know why. It was literally the easiest thing. I just had to walk down the stairs with a candle. Like, easiest shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I didn't have to really act, but it was more of like, I'm here now. Mm-hmm. We're doing this now.
You're stuck now.
And, like, this person probably is going to give me directions, and if I fuck up these directions, everything's going to go to shit. Like, that was my first initial thought, which obviously isn't true because you can redo it, or,
many times.
Yeah, so it's not like the end of the world.
That's what I like to see now, because now you just go, let's do it again. You just walk back and you're like, we'll do it again.
It's so mechanical.
You don't even ask anywhere. I'm like, thank you, because you don't have to ask. You just have to walk back, take a moment, do it again. And I get it the first time. You're like, I saw you like, I didn't know you well yet, but still I was like, she's nervous. She's like really nervous.
I was super, super nervous at the beginning, like very beginning. But then the more we shot, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like I kind of, now I wouldn't say I ignore the camera, but I don't really notice it.
But that's good.
Like it's just there. It's part of like the place, like the boom mic and the camera to me is just part of things, and I'm more focused on the other actors that I have to like.
And it's funny because the second I have stood in front of a camera, but the second I have that, I get nervous. It's really weird.
I don't really get nervous anymore, which is really nice.
That's nice, yeah.
Unless I know either A, I'm having a bad day and I know that I might mess up a couple times, then I get like a little bit like, ooh, I wonder if I'm gonna mess up. But it's not like a huge problem, because eventually after you do it a couple times, you know the script. Yeah. So, or like if it's something very physical, which I haven't had so far, but if it is something pretty physical, like yesterday was pretty physical, the newspaper, there was a lot of choreography that had to do. But just like the choreography parts, like when they say when our camera guy goes like, okay, let's start from here, let's do this, and that sometimes makes me anxious, because then I have to remember that while I'm acting, and sometimes I tend to forget everything that I have to do because I'm too into the scene. So it's just an extra consideration, but eventually it goes by fine. It's just in those moments I do get a little bit more nervous, just because there's something extra that I have to think about. But
it happens. It's just goes away again,
exactly,
right?
Yeah, like
you
when
do see it, like I don't think everyone sees it, but like now we have spent enough time together, I do know, like I see it, but then I'm like, oh, it's gone again. I see it, like you see it in someone's eyes even.
For a moment I'm just like, oh god, and then like like once I do it one time, just
Yeah, like
once.
it's funny. I see it with you. I see it with the actor that plays William, but I don't see it with the actor that plays David. He's always fine. He's always fine. I don't know how he does it. So
No,
he's also very British. So I guess they can hide it.
They have masks on at all times.
Yeah. I don't know. No. Yeah.
Yeah, but the first day was like I had a lot of fun though. Yeah. Like even though it started off, there was some bumps in the road, but like
always.
I had so much fun. I genuinely, it was never something I was expecting to have that much fun and to have like that good of an experience. Because I think a lot of people think it's fun, but I had the exact opposite. Like I just wanted to act, but I didn't expect the process to be fun. I just was expecting, oh, I can act. Like that's always fun for me, so I'll just do it. But I didn't expect to get along with everybody, and I didn't expect to have fun with other parts, and I didn't expect anything else. To like, I didn't expect to really find it that cool. I don't know like why, but I was just like, I mean, there's a camera and there's a boom mic, you know. For me, it was more
of
like
the footage, like the after, and then you're like, wow.
It's like now I'm obsessed. I can do this all day. If you were like, Yana, quit your uni, I'm paying you, let's go.
Yeah. Well, that is where we want to go.
Yeah, exactly.
At that point, it's gonna be far away.
Yeah, but
okay. I had one last one. Like. If there's something you want, like in the future, if we would do more episodes, like what would you love to see, or like what would you love to get to do? Like, is there like a specific thing that you're like, I wish we would add something like this? It doesn't have to be specific, but like something like this that we could do, and you're like, oh yeah, something.
I just thought of it, like literally right now.
Like a specific.
So Theodora has a cane, right?
Yeah.
Zip lining.
Zip lining the cane. That is funny. That
would be fun, but. I don't know.
I do have plans for the cane, so but I didn't have that plan yet. But
write it in. Zip lining with the cane. But I don't think I have specific ideas for Theodora.
Even in terms of like shooting, if there's like, oh, I wish we would drive off a bridge or jump out of a building, or I'm naming stunts now, but you know, if you have, even if you don't, that's also okay.
I want to know how the process is of filming in a car.
Oh, we still have to do that, so it's still coming. We're gonna get a cool car for that. Yeah.
But you know, it's always been interesting to me. I saw behind the scenes of The Last of Us, the show, and how they had a cameraman on top of the car. Which was really cool. Like it was a special car for those types of things. They have Hollywood, the equipment in Hollywood.
Oh, it's huge.
Holy shit.
The last time, as if I'm in Hollywood all the time. The last time I was there was like a few years ago. They were filming the Brad Pitt Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah, they were filming it. And we were just there by chance, you know. We were there. We were there. I will show you some videos. We were there. And we were walking by. We had just gotten from McDonald's there, so we were walking with our burger
from rags to riches.
Yes, actually. So we were just walking there with our burgers in our hands. My mom was like, oh, they're filming a movie here. So we were walking there.
Brad Pitt's just standing there.
And we stopped there and we were like, wow, there's a lot of people waiting. Like, is there something happening? So we were just eating there and we asked like one of the bystanders, like, oh, what's happened? Yeah, they're filming a movie here. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Then why are there so many people? And they're like, yeah, Brad Pitt's coming. I was like, oh, that's cool.
I would be a little more excited.
that's cool. And so it was really cool to see. Like, I know the specific scene, the Hollywood scene, well, I'll show you afterwards, but it was still nice to see that, and all the big cameras that they have, and all these, almost a crane that they put the camera on. It's really like, that's like the professional expensive stuff. So
so really cool. So cool.
It was a really cool experience. But hopefully we'll do that in real life someday. But I mean,
yeah, of course.
For real.
We will. You just stay tuned, okay? Yeah. We're not going anywhere. Well, maybe Hollywood.
maybe Hollywood.
But I think we can shut it down.
Yeah.
Cut.
Oh no.
But thank you all for watching. Thank you, Danny, for joining.
I
very much appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day, afternoon, or evening, whatever time it is when you're watching this. And I'm hopefully going to see you next week if I will have time.
There's no filming next week, so you have time.
I do have time.
You are allowed to.
So I will see you next week, I promise.
Oh,
but thank you all, and I love you. Bye-bye.